Hi, it's Caroline Cousins, www.carolinecousins.com. Why is it so difficult to get to root cause when you're clearing up your judgments from the subconscious mind? Well, I've been doing this practice a long time of helping people to shift their stuff. I've been in the business for about 24 years. And the intention has always been to get to a root cause of an issue, because if you can get to the root cause of an issue, then you can clear so much stuff, and it just makes such a huge transformation in people's lives. But I've been thinking about this quite a lot recently, because for the vast majority of people, nearly all people, it comes in a layer by layer process. So we can shift big layers and we can shift small layers, and whilst we always intend to get to a root cause, we can go right back to birth, we can go right back into the womb, we can go into other lifetimes, we can look at ancestral things as well. And at the time, even when there's a great big shift, we can feel we've actually got to the root cause. But we very, very, very rarely do. And this is why. Because if we actually got to a root cause of a particular program or a belief, then the kind of feelings and emotions that would come up, the kind of shift in energy, can be overwhelming to the mind, the human existence part of the mind. So imagine, you've got to remember that in your subconscious mind, you haven't just got this experiences that you've had in this lifetime. It isn't just made up of childhood experiences, it's made up of all your ancestral experiences as well. So you've got ancestral judgments and programs all the way back to when they first came here. On top of that, you've got other lifetimes experiences. Now, you won't have all other lifetimes experiences to be able to be accessed in this lifetime. You'll only have a few relevant, pertinent ones that the soul wishes you or gives you the opportunity to access in this lifetime. So it's not like you can access all 140,000 lifetimes that you've lived. You can't. It's not possible in this lifetime. Only the pertinent ones will you be able to access that will bring about the shift that you need. And obviously you've got other dimensions that you've lived as well, but not everything is available to access. But what you've got in the mix that takes you away from 0 point, which takes you away from that blank screen, away from your true essence, are all these programs, all this data, all these memories, all these feelings going into the mix. So you don't know what's in there. You do not know what's in there. None of us know. None of us have any idea what's in those data banks. So if we're saying, yes, I'm going to clear the root of this particular block in this lifetime, then that might be 100,000 programs. And it might be even more than that, because it might have affected every single one of your ancestors. So it's been reinforced again and again and again and again. And how do we know how many times it's been reinforced? It might be several blocks from childhood, which may be overwhelming. There may be countless ones from various lifetimes that you've lived before and in other dimensions as well. Maybe even hundreds and hundreds of thousands of parallel lifetimes as well. So if we actually got to the root cause of a behaviour or a program, then the energy shift of all of that program would be overwhelming to the mind. Absolutely overwhelming. And this is why these programs shift layer by layer by layer. We don't want them to shift layer by layer. We want to get rid of it completely. So if you're running something, I always use failure as an example. So let's just use failure as an example. If we're running failure programs, you may get to the root of it maybe in this lifetime, possibly, but you may never get to the root of it in your ancestral lifetime. You may have to go through several layers because you might have it reinforced hundreds of thousands of times. And if you were going to release all the times it's been reinforced, it could be completely overwhelming. And it's the difference between sanity and insanity. That's how overwhelming it can be. And it's why, my feeling is, it's why the mind only allows us to release so much at a time to prevent that overwhelm from happening. So it's why we can't always get to a root cause. I think sometimes we can get close to it, but I don't think we can ever fully, completely clear it in this lifetime. I think we can clear enough of it to allow enough divine inspiration to come in, and clear enough of it to get to a point, but to clear all of those layers that may be there, I think is dependent on many other factors, karmic factors, divinity, all sorts of other things feeding into it. So it's why we can never get to a root cause. I think it's the mind preventing that overwhelm factor, and it's why also we get little layers, we get big layers, and sometimes we're just not aware of the kind of buried feeling and emotion that's in there, and when it starts to come up, it can be overwhelming in that moment. Just one layer can be overwhelming. So imagine if you've got 50, 100, 100,000 even layers of that same issue in there. It would probably drive you insane if it all came up at once. It'd be too much to handle. So this is why we always want to get to a root, but I think the mind doesn't allow us to get to that root in case of overwhelm, particularly if you're an emotional, sensitive person as well. It's why some people can get very close to the root or the root itself and others can't. There's too many factors feeding in. There's also that law of cause and effect, that karmic side feeding into it as well. And that is why you just got to keep going. You just got to keep shifting the layers that are there. And, you know, it's okay to peel it back bit by bit. Ideally, we don't want to do that, but if you empower yourself with tools that you can do it yourself, then it just becomes a common practice. And you can also program the subconscious mind to just keep cleaning with things, with tools like Ho'oponopono. So even when you're sleeping, the subconscious mind is cleaning all that data, that ancestral data all the time. So that's my theory, and I hope it's prompted some thought in you, and thank you for tuning in.